Hello, good morning. It's a pleasure to be back with you in another math meeting. Today we're going to continue working on our Unit 4 equations and word problems. And our teaching point for today will be, I can identify factors, multiples, and prime and composite numbers. So we already took a look at what factors and actually only factors are, but today we're going to be taking a look at multiples, prime, and composite numbers. Alright, so today is Wednesday, April 22. And our lesson for today is called Factors and Prime Numbers. I suggest that you pause the video now and get to copy the date and teaching point and the lesson name as well, just before we get to work on our quick practice. Alright? So in our quick practice for today, we have, or we're supposed to actually use arrays to show factor pairs of 12. We must remember that a factor pair are these two factors that when we multiply, we get a product that we're being asked. In this case, is 12. And remember that we can also try different factor pairs, meaning different combination of factors to actually get this number 12. So since we're talking about arrays, that means that we're going to be trying some drawing. So if I try this out, I should have something like this. On the first case, I have 12 rows and only one column. On the second one, I have 2 columns and 6 rows. In the same way, you're going to be working out different factor pairs that we might find for number 12. Alright, since we're working with factors, we should keep in mind that the only operation where we can actually find factors is multiplication. Right here we have an equation as an example where we have 2 times 3, which represent the factors in this equation, and then we have 6, which is the product or answer of this equation. Alright, so let's take a look at our main goal for this lesson. Let's take a look first at what prime numbers are. So what are these? So basically a prime number is a number greater than 1 that has 1 in itself as its only factor pair, right? So that means that those numbers that can only be divided by themselves and by 1, and that is greater than 1, is what we call a prime number. Some prime numbers are number 2, 5, 11, and 23. Now, I dare you to actually try to divide these numbers by a number that is different than themselves or number 1. If we try for number 2, for example, right, we can divide by 1 and that will be equal to 2. And the only other number would be by itself, which is number 2. If we try another number, we won't get a whole number. So if we try to divide it by 3, we get a fraction right there. We get, for example, 2 divided by 5, which might be another combination. We still get another fraction. So the only way that we could divide number 2 and get a whole number is actually by dividing it by itself and number 1. If you want to try to divide by 5, 11, or 23, you may try as well, and you will see that you won't be able to get a whole number as an answer. Now, on the other hand, we have composite number. So what is that? It's a number greater than 1, yet again, that has more than one factor pair. We saw in our last class how to work out factor pairs. Now, when we have this specific case, when we have a number that has more than one factor pair, then we have a composite number. Alright, so that activity that we just tried, the quick practice, that number 12, is a composite number right there because it has more than one factor pair. Some examples that we may recall are number 4, 12, 25, and 100. So keep in mind that if that number has more than one factor pair, then that means that it's a composite number. The number one is neither prime nor composite, huh? Number one seems to be pretty special. Alright, so right here we have a question for you to think about this and reflect. Is 24 a prime number or a composite number? Which one do you think? I would like to read your answer actually. So on this matter, we're going to be practicing on this 6 exercise. You're supposed to tell whether each number is prime or composite. If you need to go back on this video to remind yourself about the criteria for every type, you're free to do so. Now, the last thing that we're going to be dealing with in this lesson is multiple numbers, or actually a multiple. So what is a multiple? The multiple of a number is a product, right? Is the answer of a multiplication equation. So it's a number, actually a product, of that number and a counting number. So let's say, or actually I have two examples right here with the multiples of 3 and multiples of 5. When we have to keep in mind the product, because the product of that number and a counting one will be the multiple. In this case, our number is 3 and our counting number will be 5. So a multiple of 3 and 5, or actually multiples, will be 15. So right here, we take a look at the multiple of 3. We got 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on until infinity and beyond. If we try the same for multiple of 5, then we got 5, 10, 15. Basically, is that product that you get by multiplying that specific number by a different combination. Sorry. So you may try this with whatever number you want to try and you will find every multiple. Later on, we're going to work on these deeper cases where you're supposed to get multiples of a specific number in order for you to solve the problem that you're being asked. So far, keep in mind that a multiple of a number is a product and the result of a multiplication equation of that specific number and a counting number, meaning another number that you may try to combine. Now for this activity, you have 3 more questions. So what are the first 5 multiple of 4? Alright? So you're going to write number 4, or actually write 5 equations where you try 5 different numbers multiply by 4. It might be 4 times 1, 4 times 2, and so on. So that product that you get will be the multiples of those factors. Then you're going to write the first 10 multiple of 8. So this time you're going a little beyond. And then you have another question at the end. Is 54 a multiple of 6? Explain how you know. Right here you have some more exercises where you're going to practice the same skills on multiples. And that will do it for today, guys. I hope that you have enjoyed this lesson. If you have any doubts, just let me know on the comment below.